as we get Metroid II started. In 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you all for the good wishes. Glad you're enjoying Metroid 2. This continues to be a really fun game to play. I hope you have a good time watching it. Any up to Dark Biff. Thank you all for the good wishes there. There we go. One thing I love about Metroid 2 is that despite being a pretty intense action game of parts, it's also pretty relaxed for a lot of it. Got a couple of nice different paces as you go throughout the planet. That is probably too early. Like the no reset speedruns. Yeah, it's something that I found was pretty helpful for this game. Going with no resets got me a lot of practice in the early game especially. And since Metroid 2 is so front-loaded, nearly all the items throughout the entire game are in like the first couple of areas. You really need a lot more practice in the early game just to be able to navigate around and make certain that you know where you're going. Sometimes still feels like I'm working on that. Our areas there, Metroid done. We're heading over to Area 1 here to go and get our bombs, and that's what it feels like the Metroid experience really truly begins. This one does not have a morph ball that you have to go and pick up. It's just there at the start. No explanation whatsoever. But I figured this early on in Metroid formula, they're still kind of working on some of the kind of key ideas about how to gate progression and make it so that you have interesting early game experiences, enough that you're kind of hooked into the game without being kind of overwhelmed by different options. That can be a pretty tough balance to strike sometimes. When I play this on, this is the Game Boy player. It plays all manner of Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games. Highly recommended for anybody that likes any of those classic systems. Plus, it looks really nice. Don't want to be overwhelmed by game maps. I would say a map would kind of help in this game in a couple places. The areas are kind of twisty and a little bit fiddly at times. Knowing that you've got full coverage is one of the challenges. But I would probably want to have a map that is only revealed when you explore rooms and not have one that gets an autofill out. Just because a lot of the fun of Metroid 2 is the exploration. first E-Tank's really scary. There's a couple of spots where energy is scary. It always seems like that at the beginning, because you just have so few resources. But like end Area 2 into early Area 3, that can be kind of rough. Area 2 damage boost going up to the spring ball is very terrifying at times. Lava dive in Area 4 and 5, like there's a bunch of spots for it. And not a lot of times where it feels like you got too much energy. There's like only one spot where you get two E-Tanks kind of close together. It's like, yeah, I probably didn't need the other refill. We do need the spider ball, even though the spider ball is, I mean, only partially functional at best. The spider ball tries its best. And while its best is just definitely not very good, at least it tries. Real problem is just the spider ball has probably like not enough big time relative to the complexity of the idea. I bet if they'd been able to like get some playtesting on it, they probably would have realized that you could fix the spider ball pretty easily with a few small changes. Do the boost. There's a boost that you can take off the second cannon on that right-hand side that lets you skip the spider ball going up there. Please. I don't know how Samus just rolled through the missile, but I guess that can happen. So if you have taken damage too recently, you'll not be able to pick up items, which I totally did not even know was a thing. Well, it kind of makes sense when you think about it. Light item is just another kind of collision that you have in the game, and so iframes mean that you don't collide with the items. It's not something that comes up all that often. I think of the one thing in the speedrun that makes people the most angry when they see it. It's going in the ceiling of that room. That is such a frustrating room in a casual playthrough with all of the bomb jumps in it. And there is no indication that there's like a secret passageway all across the top. I don't even know why I put that in there. Well, I'm glad they did. Minor pancake problems. I was too close when I fired the missile. But now we're fine. The pancakes have been dealt with. And soon the Metroids will be dealt with as well. One way or another. Area 1's pretty relaxing. In comparison to most other places, you have pretty easy access to energy refills, and you're getting a little bit more resources, so relative to the difficulty of these enemies, getting your resource management is a lot easier. And then they, in Area 2, start bumping up the difficulty again, so that no longer is true. And then it's scary again for a little bit. Well, so I'm losing 5 seconds on missile difficulties. The rest of that was fine. And so now we're going to worry about the boost. I feel like that intro in the Area 2. Probably most stressful part of the entire game. Need so much health for the boost. And even after you do it, then you still have to deal with the other stuff on the other side. The mini-boss, the Alpha Metroid. Like, it does not let up immediately like it does at the bomb section Area 1. But I was going to hit the fish. Gotta be really careful to not get sucked into the sand. It's pretty tough to get out of there. And so those floating platforms are a trap. Could probably get all the way up there with the boost off of that guy. I often skip that boost if I have already taken damage, but likely it's worth it. And here we go. Not too bad. I can probably avoid getting hit on the very last one when boosting up there. Well, that is respectable. That is the spring ball. Pretty decent spring ball pickup. I was initially worried it'd be kind of tough to do the fight against the spring ball mini boss there, but feels like it's actually a not that hard fight to just get the 2-cycle on it. Very, very occasionally get bumped out and have to do a 3-cycle, but rarely a problem. Good morning, Metroid. I've got a thunk for you. Good. That's what it seems like it should be scary. But by the time you're past the Metroid, you're totally fine. Those cannons never really fire if you're just kind of falling straight down with the ball. That was a good high jump. Then you got access to another E-tank refill. It was much needed by this point. The Springwell Boost, the flashiest part of the run. I would say the flashiest part is probably the lava dive to area 4 and 5, but Springwell Boost is a solid number 2. And it definitely feels scarier. Like, as long as you got enough health. The lava dive really isn't that bad, but the Springwell Boost is always much more precise. Our missile down there. Get some helpful little hinting about additional items by seeing the one that you can't collect on the other side of the wall. That is the good hinting. The bad hinting is when it's like, all right, 6 levels of walls, 2 of which are fake. Good luck finding this stuff. Because they kind of use both in different places. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're about there. That is it for the high jump zone. Next up, we got Varia Land. The amorphous jump mid are intentional. Yeah, it seems to be pretty intentional. As is the kind of double jump when you take damage on things. So basically, every time you transition a state, you get to reset your jump counter. And it's never required to get through areas, but it is very, very common. And something that I gotta imagine they definitely would have known about for developing the game. It's one of the things that feels kind of goofy for people that come into this game, particularly from the Super Metroid side of things, in terms of movement and navigation. Like, it's a bit of an awkward maneuver, and use it so much in this game. Alright, there's our first hidden missile. There's another one that's really awkward at the very end of Area 2. And that one I've lost a couple of seconds on from the last few playthroughs, so hopefully that goes well. We get a good clean Area 2 exit. That'll be a nice bit of time savings for the start of Area 3. That didn't count for bombing it. Off to the side, not close enough. There we go. Varia's picked up. And with Varia's suit, in addition to reducing our damage, it also makes you run faster, which is nice. But I could easily see this being like 2 separate items. I think Super Metroid's speed boost makes a lot of sense for having something dedicated to the run fast task. Doesn't need to be as flashy as speed, it's just something that buffs your run speed by a bit. Would have been a very nice thing to have been able to grab separately. Yeah, no, that's the best path through there. I feel like going further to the left might be more effective. Please, on Metroids. Now we got the Gammas. Get down, Gamma. Gamma being kind of rude. Got such a long invincibility period that he decides to duck behind the platform when he's not invincible. Can take a while for it to actually let you through there. These are the digging Metroids. One very nice quality improvement would be if the dug area stayed dug when you went back there. Which is totally down. Well, that sucks. Luckily, we are up with some Metroid II tonight. And now you are unable to leave. Well, yeah, it was probably Dan. I can imagine Dan did that. I saw that split. So I think it's really pretty close to being even on Area 2 exit here. Well, it was until those jumps happened. That has got to be the worst jumping in existence. Alright, Spider-Ball, time to do your thing. And by your thing, I mean press a completely different direction to the direction I'm traveling. For no reason at all. But at least we didn't fall down. Alright, Area 2 item, totally fine. The other big one that we have for time savings is the Dark Room in Area 6, which almost never has a problem, but it had a problem. So that'll be a fairly substantial time period. I don't remember if this run had a Metroid nomming us at any point. It might have had a nom, in which case we've got like another 15 seconds that can be saved there. Like, I'm not at all worried about finding places for getting down to sub 70. There's so many spots in the run where I imagine that time savings are all over. But I mean, I identified a couple, like, just have some reference markers about where it is possible to make some comebacks on. 6. That's fine for going into area 3. Because I don't have enough health to be able to get to the first E-tank in the area. We are good. Back up. The hub's kind of the main section of the game that's independent of the little side areas that have all the items. But it's never really kind of marked out just, it was just that you got the background music as one way to tell that it's a different place than the previous area that we were just at. There's a little bit of visual similarity in the tile sets as well. They tend to use this style of caverns for all of these spots in here. But you don't really have like a classic mapping system like you do in the later Metroid games. A lot of these are kind of basically just like ad hoc descriptions people come up with to be able to communicate what part of the game you're at. And not necessarily what was intended for the game design. Yeah, it's boosted so well that we ended up plus 21 health going through there. Now we are definitely really, really good for health. But when I should learn the proper boost up here. That way I would no longer have to spider ball that. You can boost up those little ground satellites in a way that gets you a spring ball jump off the satellite into a second spring ball jump into an unmorph from the spring ball jump to triple jump out of there. It's really cool, but it is kind of fiddly. And luckily, now that we got space jump, our fiddly jump is now totally different. Grab the wall missiles and head down the murder hole. It is not my favorite hole, to be honest. For a variety of reasons. Another up. And pass one of the flamethrowers. And pass two flamethrowers. Now we can go fight our Metroid for the E-Tank. Really, sometimes Fireball has to think about what direction it's going for that. It always picks wrong. I think that really is the impressive part of the Spider Ball. It's not that the Spider Ball has parts that don't entirely make sense with the geometry or the movement direction. It's that it's 100% always the wrong direction in ways that you can't even predict. And it's actually kind of impressive that way. leave missiles on. This whole stretch needs nothing but missiles. There's barely any regular enemies. Lots and lots of annoying ones. Anchor the spider ball. The spider ball might have been a product of the town of Belmont. It does have that Momon smell. Those are some good Gamma Metroids. Pretty happy with those fights. Less happy with that. But anything that gets us out of the murder hole is an improvement. Let's go. That's our first big chunk of area 3 here. Next chunk is going to be getting the side stuff done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is such a terrifying drop. If the Metroids drink the town of Belmont, I would say that that would probably poison the Metroids. If there is one way to kill Metroids, besides blowing a planet, direct exposure to the town of Belmont would likely be a close second. Good game. This part we have to be pretty cautious with energy because we got the big lava dive for area 4 and 5 after this, and there's no more refills before then. But good start so far. Like to see good, clean Metroid fights near the beginning. Hopefully no problems with space jump. Nice. That was a good exit to the area. But it turns out Area 3 is not done. There's more Metroids down here, of course. And so we gotta kill them. Always more Metroids. At least that's what our Metroid detector tells us. And that thing's never wrong. Not 100% clean, but decent. Oh! Okay. Almost fell further down than I wanted. And now we're falling further down than I wanted. Whatever. It was going so well. And then it wasn't. That alpha can be kind of difficult with the bubble screen. Because the alpha moves unpredictably, the bubble screen really gets in your way a lot. Whereas over here with the Gamma Metroid, you can usually keep them in a pretty good vertical column. Just start drilling a hole through the bubbles. And that's less of a problem. Just like that. Just kind of shows you that sometimes the more advanced mutations doesn't mean it's necessarily a harder Metroid. That is 100% true when you're talking about the Zeta Metroids. Because those things are hard. And they're way worse than the Omegas. Yeah, welcome in. Hope you enjoy some Metroid 2 tonight. Gamma. That was kind of rough. But at this point, we're good on energy. As long as we have reasonable Metroid fights for the last couple. More of a concern for time, because we just had a pretty mediocre previous Metroid section. So let's see how we do. Where's the virtual highlight? There might be some virtual highlight during our season intermission. It has been threatened that if people do not behave, the virtual highlight might have to come out again. Alright, even with the really fumbled jumps. Decent Area 3 there for the exit. Now let's get our lava dive going. This is basically doing areas 4 and 5 in the wrong order. We'll have to do a whole lot of backtracking off the sides, but as long as you want to take like a whole lot of damage, you can kind of fool the game with the order that you did Metroids in. We'll be picking up the first Metroid of Area 5. It thinks we killed the one in Area 4. And so that'll drain the lava for getting us back out of this place. And skip like 90 seconds of overworld travel. It's really quite good. Shake here. Hey, even though we're in Area 5, it thinks we just killed the first Metroid of Area 4, because all it takes is the count of Metroids, not which specific ones you kill. We're triggering all of these activations. I don't need to kill all the Metroids. You can't use this technique to skip anything in the game. But it makes the order of operations a lot better. Stop that. Do need my health for Area 4. Or not Area 4, Area 6. Area 4 should be fine. Except for the pancakes. Never can trust those pancakes. Alright, that's both Area 5 Metroids out of the way. We'll go to the real Area 4. And take the Metroid out there. I was initially very concerned about this. Like, the lava dive does take a lot of health. And so if you are not able to pretty cleanly deal with all the Metroids at the end of Area 3, it's very tough to be able to pull that off. But it really didn't take that long to get comfortable with the Metroid fights. To where we went from, taking 200-300 damage for those Metroids to taking more like 50. So very quickly, I begin to really enjoy Lava Dive. Except for that part. I really hate that last Firefly. There's got to be some way around it. Alright, how we go? That's the stretch that you're going to be doing multiple times if you don't do Lava Dive. Gotta go over here, which is conveniently pretty close to where Area 6 is going to be connecting on. This is the first of a couple of tricky areas where they kind of mess around with a little bit of the lava mechanics for you once you get the basics understood. Then we'll start throwing in a couple of complications. One more. There we go. Those are the angrier pancakes with arms. They are not as delicious as the classic ones. The pancake. Not got enough health drops from the other ones that I probably don't really even care about those. Get this one, murder this Metroid. There we go. Alright, so that is areas 4 and 5 done. And we're going to be on to Area 6 before you know it. That sounds like the droplet from Mega Man 2. I can kind of hear that. There's a lot of sounds that feel very familiar between games. Sometimes because it's the same game company and they'll reuse a lot of the coding for how the audio systems work. And back in these days, like, the audio system was software. Like, it was 90% programming, 10% musical composition. And you'd be a real wizard to be able to make good sounds on these systems. But sometimes it's more like, given the limitations of how the audio systems of these consoles work, like, you kind of come up with similar-ish ideas. And even if it's not intentional copying, it's close enough that you can kind of recognize some of the DNA of the console coming through. Like, a lot of Genesis games have very similar sounds for that reason, not because people are copying the sound files, but because Genesis has a pretty distinctive sound bank for a lot of its music systems and the demos for it. And so people kind of like naturally gravitated towards things that sound more similar than you would otherwise expect. One Metroid down there. Now we're into Area 6. And this is the last area where you have items in the game. After this, it is just nothing but killing Metroids. And this is also kind of small relative to those areas we have had previously, so even though it is items, it is less item exploration required. So you're actually very, very close to the end of item hunting for 100%. Here's our first Zeta Metroid! It's our first time to experience pain. Do not keep Zeta stunned, they will wreck you very, very fast. And they're really hard to reset their patterns. That's what the Omega's big advantage is that the Omega has kind of a reset button in Screw Attack once you get that. So you don't have to worry about, triggering the swoop. You got a controlled way of doing it. Then the Megas are just like 50 times better in every other dimension. And there's Ice Beam picked up. Still the time savings for the Dark Room as well, so we could be looking at a pretty good run going here. I'm liking it so far. Less liking that, but will deal. This is the left side again, but then we get our health back, and the rest of the energy for the stage is not all that tight. We've kind of had to carry this since Area 4 and 5, so that's another reason why that Zeta can be really messy at times. Just don't have a lot to work with. Or those other passageways off to the right-hand side. Those are the other beams in the game, so you can get pretty much every beam here. You did not collect them in the earlier stages. Just for our purposes, because you need the ice beam for killing Metroid. That's the only one that's worth picking up. Not much in the way of RNG. There's a lot of RNG in how the Metroids move around, but that's like relatively small compared to the other things that you might have to deal with. So I think the nice part about this game is just that where it has randomness, it tends to be limited to like a small portion, and it doesn't have large scale effects. Not so much for Dark Room. Like in an RPG, if you got random parts to it, it can have an effect that kind of strings across a very large portion of the game. Whereas this one, it's more like a single flake goes badly. And it might be 10, 15 seconds, but you can kind of recover. Unless you fall with the spider ball, then you're not recovering. Then you're in Sad Town. By the way, I'm pushing left to go right. It is the worst spider ball ever. Alright, so we lost a bunch of time there, but that's still better than we had before in the run, so I think we'll come out ahead in this section. This could have been a little bit cleaner. Oh, Gamma. We're gonna have to get you on the wall now. And down here. There we go. Almost. Almost. On the floor. It's fine, you figured it out. Should work. Did not work. There we go. Alright, Zeta Fight. This is the one that doesn't really have a good setup for it. So all the Zetas, this is the one that most often gets out of control. Where is Zeta? We got a lot of it. That was not bad. I have certainly had much worse fights on that Zeta. Now, I've got the screw attack. Most of that time savings was just the Dark Room not being a complete pile of garbage. But again, we'll take it. I think that was like the only time I've ever had really substantial Dark Room problems. Like you might have like a second or two of little fumblings, but that was a really bad one the previous run. So I'm glad it was clean there. I'll take it. Just to get this game in a good spot. That should work. Oh yeah, there's a lot of passageways with no clues at all. This game, 99% of the time is fair, but the times that it's not, it's really not fair. Like I did a casual playthrough, I think I missed maybe like 5 missile packs, and that's about it. But the ones I missed were like, yeah, there was no way I was going to find them without help. Alright, last setup. We're good. Always get nervous about the shake. Sometimes it takes a really long time for the shake to start. Like, did I miss a Metroid? Like, no, okay. This took 20 seconds for the shake to begin. And that is Area 6. Attack reminds me of Soul Blazer Firebird. I don't know if I have anything associated with this screw attack. It's just like the weirdest sound. It feels the same as the normal jumps, but because it sounds so weird, it actually throws me off for the jumps. It's like kind of squishy sounding in an unpleasant way. Area 7, nice and simple. Let's come up here. There's a one Alpha Metroid all sitting by itself. But you notice there's 2 Metroid shells, so what's going on with that? It's probably not important. We'll just leave. They got shaking everything. You can tell the area is definitely done. Until you find out that the shake is raising the lava for some reason, and now you're trapped in here. Kind of effective. Like, they probably should have done that more often. Like, if you want to stop Samus, just like raise the lava, don't let her out. Feels like it would have been the perfect plan. But no, instead. Their plan is to put out Gamma Metroids. Then Zetas and now Omegas. And for some reason, they made the Megas really easy compared to the Zetas. I'm not complaining. I am glad that there's only 3 Zetas. Probably faster to just ball through that. They have arms and legs, but they still fly around. I mean, look. Sometimes life is complicated. There's our Gamma Rush. One down. 2 Gammas to go. Gammas. 2 Omegas to go. Been a minute. Up there, you get your last little save point for a while in this game. Area 9 does not really mess around. It's pretty brutal if you are not able to figure out very quickly how to beat the Omega Metroids are going to have a rough time here. Once you get it down, then it becomes kind of relaxing. Does make adorable sounds. I would say Zetas are abominations. Get over here. Oh. Alright, so probably not having the best time with Area 9 here. Bunch of falls on the bubble pits. Those are kind of frustrating because it's slightly faster when I'm running off the sides rather than just screw attacking across the entire top of this, but they can be very unpredictable at times. And then the Mega Fights have been not super clean. So we're coming in with a pretty big savings in time, so definitely don't think we're going to be worried about our PB chances. Those are looking very good still. There we go, Area 9 is done! Didn't even lose any time. I'm surprised about that. Just one Metroid left. And then it's all over. Oh, I'm sure there's lots of better spots for some of these Metroid fights. Second half of the game I don't have as much kind of grinding on because doing no reset runs really emphasize the start of the game a whole bunch, as that part is much, much more consistent than getting into the second half here where it's a lot more improv on some of the fights. It's just, I understand the fights better on the second half of the game, since it's not nearly as heinous of a enemy pattern to go and follow. But I've not practiced it nearly as much as I've practiced the first half. That's why the first half is like, usually like plus or minus like 5 seconds tops. And the second half has got like all kinds of time all over the place. This blue is the one time where water is actually going to have physics, and additionally, there are these secret pitfalls in the middle of these lakes, which will pull you down to the previous floor, and you would really, really hate for that to happen. Take it nice and easy, doing my space jumps over the top. Out the goo, and up to the final recovery point. Now, I'm I can save a bunch of time by not getting health and missiles there, but it makes the last bit probably a lot slower and rougher. So for right now, I'm still getting those. I don't know how much longer I should be picking that up. Look at that. The baby Metroid! And now there's more Metroids. Our Metroid detector has lied to us yet again. This doesn't get much by Metroid. That first one, for some reason, gives me more problems than it really should. And then there's one more near the end that tends to be the other place we will more often than not get nommed. Like that here. So far, so good on Metroids. That was fine now. My other bits of those is they're kind of in a bad spot for your missile attacks. And if you don't missile them fast enough, they will unfreeze and then eat your face off. Which is usually considered a bad thing. But no bad Metroids tonight. We are on to the Metroid Queen. Final boss coming up. Here we go. You should definitely play Metroid for a reason. This is a really fun game. Fight it, Metroid Queen. Oh, you have to make this so difficult at times. And there we go. Metroid Queen is done. And now we just have to escape. Decent fight. I wanted to get one more bomb attack, and it's more efficient doing the bombs than doing your missiles. Although it's a combination of both to kill the Metroid Queen. It's, at the end of the day, just getting through all the health. One way or another. Maybe eat those blocks faster. We need to escape. Okay. No terrible space jumps. With that, we are done in 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 39 seconds. Almost a sub 70. That's definitely a big improvement. Didn't quite hit the goal, but I feel really good. But now it's 70 minutes and some change, real time. We'll see what the in-game time comes up with that. I'm imagining that's going to be a 67 in-game time. I think it's for the GG's Mirage 89, Mikhail AP, Falcon, Bank Muscle, Eat Ninja 81, Dark Beth, Zelosi, Blind Empire, True Denru, Afton Biddles, Lord Nanfoodle. By the way, if anyone would like to purchase a slightly defective Metroid detector, I've got one for sale cheap. This thing is the least accurate Metroid detector in existence, and also the slowest at subtracting by 1. Lightning Fart, thanks for the GGs. Baby Metroid better eating than Bow Wow. No, Bow Wow is an eating machine. Ruthless and unstoppable unless he gets captured by Moblas, and then he's very stoppable. But it'll be a lot of good time tonight. I don't know how many people stuck around with Twitch going down for a couple minutes in the middle there. But at least we got to share together this new Metroid II experience. Hey, thanks for the GG's Tipo1. This time there was no really major issues. Like, there's minor stuff all over the place. Plenty of 5 and 10 second times where just a single room with slightly better movement that I get 95% of the time. But a lot of what makes these runs difficult is that you have to be not just getting it 95% of the time, but 100% of the time pushing through over and over again on it. But here we go. 67 for our in-game time. And that was Metroid II.